Hello and welcome to the second week of the term. So for this week, the project that we have is a kind of skills-based project. So you may well have noticed in the timetable we have got a kind of 3 of these kind of spread out over the term, and it's just a kind of way of sharing some kind of skills and techniques. So for this week, I'm not asking you to do a finished painting as such. What we're going to be doing is just practicing looking at doing skies and clouds. So what I'm going to show you this week is a few different methods of creating skies. And then what I'm going to ask you to do is to spend the rest of the week just kind of perhaps looking out the window and just noticing some of the wonderful skies. Hopefully it's not going to be an awful grey day like it is today, and there's not a cloud to be seen. It's all just completely grey. Hopefully we will have some kind of blue skies and clouds. In which case, what I'd like you to do is actually just sit and paint those. So you can create another sort of concertina book, and you can do some smaller kind of sky drawings in those. But initially what I would like you to do is actually just to practice these 4 different types of skies that I'm going to show you. So the first one will be a flat wash. The second one will be a flat wash with lifting out. The third one will be a kind of wet into wet technique, and the last one is a dry on wet technique. Okay, so hope that's clear, and let's get started. So let's look at colour. Obviously we, in our kind of blue areas, we've got our French ultramarine, cobalt blue, and the cerulean blue. We also need a group of colours which will help us to kind of neutralise some of the blues in order to kind of create some shadows which we can often see in clouds. But let's have a look at the blues first. So the ultramarine blue is the one I guess we're most familiar with, and that really is our kind of lovely kind of warm blue. Okay, the cerulean blue, on the other hand, is our cool blue. Okay, so you can really kind of see the warmth in the ultramarine when we do actually put the cerulean blue right next door to it. The colour that's kind of in the middle of these two is the cobalt blue. Okay, so it's neither warm, it's neither cool, it's kind of somewhere kind of in the middle. And you can see it kind of sits quite nicely within that. So when it comes to kind of neutralising these colours, I just need to put a little bit more of my ultramarine out. When it comes to neutralising these colours, we can use things like the Payne's grey, the alizarin, even the burnt sienna to neutralise those. And I've also got a little bit of light red as well. So it might be a colour that you have. If you don't have it, obviously don't worry. These will also do the same job. But it's also quite a nice colour to play around with if you do have it. So so what I'm asking you to do really is to kind of put each of these colours out, and then just play around with mixing some neutral tones with these other colours that I've suggested. So I'm just going to do it with the ultramarine blue, but I would like you to try it out with all the other ones as well. So I'm going to put down a little bit of, firstly, the burnt sienna. Okay, so I'm going to put that down. And then I'm just going to take some of the ultramarine blue and I'm just going to mix it into that. And I'm just going to do that on the paper really. And you can see how it completely kind of neutralizes that blue. You know, it gives us a lovely sort of dark tone, which is really useful when we're kind of looking at those shadows. So the next one might be the alizarin crimson. So this one obviously we're quite familiar with. So I'll just put some of that down there. That's the alizarin crimson. And then just rinsing my brush and pick up some of the ultramarine blue and drop that in. So again, you know, we get this lovely sort of violet kind of tone, which again, sometimes we can see that in the sky, and we can use that very, very lightly on the underside of clouds. The next one is, let's try the Payne's Grey, shall we? So Payne's Grey, obviously most of you know that this isn't a colour that I often use, but you know, maybe we can use it in the skies, and you can kind of play around with it, really. That's what I'm asking you to do this week. Yeah, so that creates a nice kind of bluey grey tone, and I think as long as you're kind of adding colour into the Payne's Grey, it can perhaps be quite useful. It's creating a lovely sort of blue-grey, but what I do want to show you, if you can see, is that the mixture with the burnt sienna is much nicer than this one. I mean, this one to me seems quite flat, whereas this, you know, we've got some lovely sort of tones and things coming through with the burnt sienna kind of underneath there. So that's why I always think this is a little bit more exciting. And then we can look at light red. So let's put a little bit of the light red down. Okay, and then if we add our ultramarine into that, maybe I need to put a little bit more of that in. I'll just squeeze a bit more out. Yeah, again, it gives us this lovely sort of neutral tone, doesn't it? Yeah, it's got a lovely sort of orangey glow to it, actually. It's lovely. Okay, so those are all the colours that we can use for neutralising. Okay, so just to recap, light red, burnt sienna, alizarin, and I've also tried Payne's Grey. So please have a go at doing all of those as well. We're also going to look at some kind of yellows in the sky, because often there are kind of yellow tinges in the sky as well. So for that, I'm going to be using my raw sienna. Oh, if I can find it. There it is. Sorry, I've just put it away. Okay, here we go. So what I've got is a lovely kind of raw sienna, and the reason why I'm choosing raw sienna as opposed to any other kind of yellows is because when you mix it with the blues, you know, it doesn't give us green, which is the main thing. So if you've got the raw sienna, that would be great to use in the sky. Another colour which you can use, another yellow which you can use, is actually Naples yellow, and that's actually a great colour to use as well in skies. You know, I'm just going to show that, you know, actually, can you see when you mix it, it doesn't give us green, it gives us a grey kind of tone. But what it also does is actually, you know, allow us to warm up our sky without producing green. Okay, so those are all the colours that we'll be kind of playing around with this week, and I will kind of write these up as well, so that you can kind of keep referring back to those. Okay, so let's move on to the demos.